Last module, we talked about giving effective feedback, and we talked specifically about incorporating feedback through all phases of the learning assessment for both formative, maybe even using formative assessments as places to build in feedback to students so they're not getting feedback and then the conversation's over. And speaking of conversation, we're going to move on to collaboration and assessment practices and see how this piece fits into our whole concept of driving for an assessment that really shows us what students have learned and that allows students to lead their education to some degree. So what we're looking at here, when I think of authentic assessments, collaboration comes to mind, and I incorporated collaboration um, largely because I feel like most of the things that I do that are assessed, while I have personal performance evaluations, most of what I do is not in a silo. And most of the jobs our kids are going to want, we're going to encourage our students to clamor for, are going to involve some level of collaboration. We might call it teamwork when they're in elementary school. Um, but I think that idea of working together for a common goal and collecting ideas and making ideas gel together is a huge difficulty for the general population, but yet we know that it creates some of the best results. So we're talking about results, and we're talking about making effective results and effective assessments, authentic assessments for students. Collaboration comes to mind, and you're going to see a little bit more research about that too. There are whole websites committed to collaborative learning, and I'm excited to share those with you. Again, what resources are available? I'm falling heavily on technology, partly because I believe that it's one of the most effective ways we can do collaboration. But if there's an idea that you don't feel like your school system can support with technology, you certainly can take an idea that's maybe founded on technology and maybe take it out of that realm. For example, I'm really big on discussion boards and how students can collaborate through a discussion board. And I really think that there is a lot of um, possibilities for formative assessment and really getting students to come out of their shell because it's on their own time and they can think about it. And if they're shy, it doesn't matter. But let's say you don't have an LMS or you can't assign something online. You obviously can construct collaborative discussion groups in your classroom and really facilitate that type of collaboration without the technology. So we're going to look at some technology tools and play with them. But if your school's not to that point of using technology, obviously figure out a way to work around it. Problem solving, right? So how students will develop how to incorporate collaboration into their assessments. That's you. You're going to take move your assessment that you're working with, this assessment makeover, and you're going to figure out how to involve collaboration. Last module we talked a little bit about the gallery walkthrough idea. There's some collaboration involved in that. I know that group projects can make some of us really twitchy. I'm one of them. But at the same time, I say that my group projects have not gone away in my adult world. And part of the reason that I had bad experiences with collaboration were maybe some self awareness things that I like to have control. I think the other part of it is the way it was facilitated, where there wasn't enough guidance given so that one person could have to end up doing all of the work for the group, or people could not pull through with their end and then the whole group's grade crashes. So we're going to think a little bit about what we want collaboration to look like to set it up for success. So let's dive in. Um, we're going to look at some different tools here. I'm fighting allergy cold stuff. Sorry about this. These will all be linked once you get the course released to you, so it'll look a little different. But the collaboration in the PBL environments, this is a YouTube video showing you. I like to see it done. I mean, we can theorize and plan all we want, but I want to see it happening. So I gave you that video. Um, And then this one too is one that is a collaborative classroom and how they work it out. And it's pretty exciting to watch. So hopefully that will be energizing for you. Both of these tools, the collaboration tools and mind maps, are again, they are things to use using technology, but some of them are probably ideas that came out of a traditional classroom with no technology and could be brought back to that space if that's what you have available. And others are definite, and some things could be done like mind maps obviously can be done with easel paper and markers or poster board and markers or big torn off papers. But these are ways to do them electronically, which sometimes just the fact that it's electronic can make it more collaborative because you're not limited to only working between student groups that are in your classroom. You ever had that class that the chemistry is just bad for group projects? Sometimes if you mix it up between classes, it can help you out. So these are just things to think about. Um, a lot of these examples happen more at the high school level and or I'm sorry, at the K-12 level. And that is where my teaching experience began, was actually from the 8 to 12 level. But I believe very strongly that they need to happen in the college classroom as well. So even if you see an example that maybe is an elementary classroom or a high school classroom and you teach elementary or you teach college, start thinking about how some of these ideas, some of my very best high school ideas came from elementary classrooms, and I would argue that some of my very best college teaching came from high school and vice versa. So let's look at what we can learn from practitioners in other content areas as well as other grade levels, and what we can draw in to make our project the most effective that we possibly can. So we're bringing in the collaboration for this unit. You may already have it inherently in what you've looked at, but I want it to be deliberate and intentional. So I want you to map out what students will do during collaboration times, because that's key. What should it look like? What should it sound like? What's the product at the end? Even if it's just a formative assessment, exit ticket, whatever you want to call it. What tools are going to be needed? Is it going to be markers and poster boards? Is it going to be post-it notes? Is it going to be, my personal favorite on those kind of materials are the easel paper, that sticky note at the top. I know those tablets are wicked expensive, but oh, they're so cool. And there's something about writing on the walls. Have you noticed that your students love to write on the walls if you give them paper? I mean, you don't want them writing on the actual walls. But also the technology tools. What tools will you use to help collaboration happen for your particular end assessment? And how might you use collaboration as part of the formative assessment? I will say this. I've seen really effective projects work out where it's all collaboration and then the summative assessment is also collaborative. You may do that. In fact, I would encourage you, if you're going to let your students collaborate throughout the whole project, you want the end to match how the process was. So you may need to have something that is a group assessment at the end. On the flip side of it, I think that it's okay to sprinkle in some alone times as well as some collaborative times. Sometimes we work best that way. In fact, case in point, this morning I was working with another professor who's teaching some of these courses, and we were collaborating together. And then we just said, okay, we need to have some time just to separate out. And I will no doubt be in touch with her later to say, hey, I want you to look at this. Tell me what you think. Or do you have any resources for this? What could I add here? Is this enough? Be an extra set of eyes. These are collaboration moments, and you probably do them in your own jobs as well. So getting learning outside of the silo into collaborative moments, how are you going to do it in your classroom? Have a great module.